Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is March 14th, and you are listening and watching the Daily AI Show live. And today we are talking about using AI to overcome that blank page, that dreaded blank page. One of the things that as somebody who's done just so much ghostwriting in my career and just writing in general, by far one of the biggest hurdles for any good writer is just getting from starting looking at a cursor blinking on your screen and getting to something that's better than that. And AI has really proven to be a huge benefit there. So we want to talk about that today. Tips, tricks, all those good things, stuff that Claude's got going on, or Anthropic rather. We got Junmi, Beth, Aaron, Andy, and Brian. And would sort of like dive into this. And I don't know, Andy, maybe you had preluded this yesterday and talked about Anthropic had come out with this prompt that you had to run in Google Colab. And the idea of this prompt was that it was going to give you well, I don't know. I have the one that Aaron gave me. The one we have about like your YouTube content strategist. It might have been more general than that, but you had to run it in Colab, and you said, "Hey, like this is pretty cool because this is providing really good quality." I think a lot of people are coming back around to Claude lately because they're seeing the quality of the types of answers you get. And you had mentioned it, and I thought, well, I wonder if we can just throw that into the other tools and get equally as good answers. And so I have done that. We can get to that, but maybe we'll start there. Andy, I don't know if that's a great place to start, but this idea of what Anthropic is trying to solve for.
Yeah. So let's first make a distinction between creative ideation, which is what's needed for creative writing and for innovation, really. Thinking laterally and connecting the dots across multiple domains. All of those processes are part of the kickstart of the creative process that then can flow out and can be filled in by the mind or with assistance. That's one method of thinking. And then the other one is deductive reasoning. There's not only two, there's multiple, but sure. Let's just make a distinction between those two. Now, it turns out that generative AI, the large language models, are not that good at deductive reasoning. They're being trained now, and they're getting better at it, and that's part of this progression towards general intelligence. But it turns out that generative AI is really good at this kickstarting of the creative process. And it's almost as simple as you're sitting there in front of the blank screen and the cursor's blinking at you, and you're trying to find a seed that will generate some content in your mind, and then you'll start to put it out on the page. Well, prompting an AI with just a few words even will bring back a bunch of different, you could have a prompt, a standing prompt, a custom GPT, or this meta prompt that's all about achieving the goal of creating a number of different starting points for creativity. And it's not exactly creativity, but it's an essential part of it that's a stumbling block for many. And we call that stumbling block the blank page problem. So yes, generative AI can do that. And it'll give you a lot of stubs, if you will, bypassing that initial mental block, the writer's block, and expediting the ideation process.
I have to say,
go ahead.
Yeah, I have to say that that this is one of the first things that I used AI for, because I have major writer's block, and I have major there are too many ideas, and then there's like a giant argument that's happening in my head about anything that goes out on the page. So one of the ways that I use generative AI for this is to interview me, and I've been doing that since the very beginning. Yeah. So and it can be as basic as, I have an idea, ask me questions, right? Just super simple. And I've been doing it since, 3.5 will do that, right? What is your idea? That's interesting. Tell me a little bit more about this aspect. But when voice came, So iOS added the ChatGPT added voice to the iOS app, and Pi came out. Then that started to be something that seemed like a real conversation about an idea, and that really changed things for me. And those tools have just gotten better. And in fact, for me, as ChatGPT has gotten harder to use through the desktop, like sometimes the iOS app just is like, whoops, bummer. Didn't transcribe what you said. Try again later. But most of the time, it's actually faster and more engaging than I can predict the desktop will be. And it's great. It's great to like blah, 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 this is my idea, and it's reflected back to you in like coherent speech with some support. Like, wow, that's such a great idea. What you want to do is X, Y, and Z. Like, hey.
I want to bump on that because like what you're saying, Beth, is what I find too, and what we know these AI language models are really good at is taking unstructured data and structuring it. And if you think about it, the way we naturally speak, I won't say everybody, lots of people are very good and very thoughtful about every single word that comes out of their mouth. That's not me. Robert talked about this one time. Him and I are more likely to just start talking and we work through it as we are talking. Not everybody's like that. My wife's not like that. But it's unstructured. Let's say the way I speak is unstructured, unless I'm very well practiced and rehearsed on what it is I'm going to say. Like I'm going to do a TED talk that we could consider to be structured. I've thought through it. I have my bullet points, and I'm only going to say the things that were on that page, almost like it was a script. But 99.9% of my life is unstructured data when it comes out of my mouth. I know that. I think that's as reality for most people. And what I love about these AI language models and really just a simple prompt is, here's what I'm thinking. Take that and turn it into something that is structured. Now, the great thing is you get to tell AI how you would like that structured. It could be an outline. It could be top points. We do this all the time internally at Scaled with meeting summarizers. In fact, it's the #1 custom GPT that I built internally for Scaled is the meeting summarizer because it's ubiquitous. You can use it every single day. And so we have people that are on calls with clients all the time. They're doing implementations, whether it's with Outreach or SalesLoft or these big tools. They're working with clients and they pop their transcripts immediately into the meeting summarizer, and it outputs in not just outputs, it outputs in the format that they want on the team at Scaled, which is really, really vital because it's not like what I think is important. What do they want as the experts doing the implementation? And I'll take it even a step further. They want to make sure it's in a format that they can send back to Outreach or SalesLoft to give them updates on how this implementation is going. So for me, and Beth, you're kind of saying the same thing, but I just wanted to sort of like, bump this up is like, for me, natural language, just speaking, not typing, just speaking is by far one of the easiest, fastest, most efficient ways to jump over the gap that is the blank page, because nothing is really easier. Once you get past the maybe uneasiness of just talking into your phone to nobody, if you feel that way, because like you're talking to an AI or whatever, once you can kind of get past that, and I find that just comes easier with time if you just practice, the information you're getting back and then how you can structure that is so powerful, and really to me can be the leaping off point to writing a great post or whatever. Because now with my LinkedIn posts, I tell everybody the same thing: forget the keyboard, forget it. Just go to Slack, go to Teams, go to your own little personal direct message channel, hit the little the microphone, start talking. About 2 minutes in, go, that's about like Forrest Gump. That's about all I have to say about that. Done. You could have you could have you could have paused. You could have said, never mind that. This is what I mean over here. I guess what my point was this, as I'm just sort of working through it, take that transcript, plop it right into your tool of choice, whether that's a Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini Pro, and voila, you get an output that's so much better than where you started, and you're doing it in 3 minutes. I mean, it's a massive input. So anyway, that was a lot, but Jimmy, Aaron, what do you guys think?
Well, I wanted to say that #1, I don't know. I've not used the voice chat feature in ChatGPT very much at all. I found it a little bit clunky at times. But having said that, what you guys have just said there makes me think I need to go back and explore that a little bit, because I'm definitely a keyboarder. I can type pretty fast and I can get my info on. But yeah, sometimes when you can just do a verbal dump at something and let it clean up the mess and make sense out of it, that's great. That aside, the vast, I mean, I've been doing content in some form or another, whether it's written or video or whatever, for, I don't know, 15 or 20 years, I suppose. Nowadays, I practically never write anything from scratch. I go to GPT, ChatGPT, or Claude, and I'm starting to use Claude more again now that version 3 is out, which is better. And I'm writing scripts for clients' videos, which I then take the written script, I clean it up a little bit, I throw it into HeyGen and turn it into a video, or I pop it into Descript, get Descript to translate it using the AI voice, and then put that into HeyGen and create a video. I mean, coming up with ideas is so easy now. You literally don't need that blanket cursor flashing at you. You just think of ideas. So I'll give you an example. I actually posted something on LinkedIn earlier today, which I'd never tried this before. I thought it was a really interesting experience. I said, if you wanted to, as a content creator using video, if you wanted to differentiate yourself, put a bit of your personality into it. And I gave the example. I said, what if I was a person who liked baking cakes and cookies and that kind of stuff? How can I weave that into my content marketing to make it a little bit more different? And I literally went to ChatGPT and said, hey, give me some analogies I can use that I can put baking into something, talking about video marketing for personal brand building, that kind of stuff. It popped out 10 ideas. I looked them up. Yeah, I like that. I then threw those 4 ideas and I said, hey, write me a 100-word script for video for these, using these 4 ideas. Make sure you use the analogy as the center of the piece, and add it spat 4 really good, solid things that I never would have been able to write. And I've written poetry with it. I've written comedy stuff. Yeah, it's just, as a writer, I don't have to do as much work, but you still got to use this to think of how to use it. But yeah, it's totally and utterly revolutionized my life in terms of any kind of content creation. Even when it's not perfect, it still gets you 60, 70, 80, 90% of the way there, and then you can clean up the rest afterwards.
Right.
And I think you said something really important that I want to call out, Aaron, is that you absolutely are saying, look, the output that I'm getting is better because I have the knowledge and expertise to work with AI to get the better result. And that is 1,000% true. If Beth and I both sat down and we were using AI to generate really good improv ideas, without a doubt, Beth's answer is going to be better, despite us both using the exact same AI tool. So it's a really good point to make, which is, experts are going to be better at getting expert results using AI in their lane, in their niche. I write so much about sales right now. It's pretty easy for me to get in that mindset and lane, despite the fact that I've never worked in sales except for once in my life. But I've just been so embedded in it for the last 2.5, almost 3 years now at scale, that it's easy for me to go, oh, this is the way I need to ask the question of the AI in order to get the best answer back. And I would imagine I'm able to do that at a higher level than somebody who has not been embedded in sales for the last 2.5 years, obviously. Yeah. So I just wanted to point it out. It's such a good point.
One of the things that kind of reminds me of is that statement that we've all probably heard multiple times in the last 6 to 12 months is, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to somebody who is using AI to do their job. So
can do this.
Every single one of us have our own levels of expertise in certain fields. It just allows us to get more out of AI, so that you can get a great result at the end of the day. I think it's awesome. I love it.
So Jimmy, we haven't asked you yet, but I was curious to hear what your take was on this.
Well, the main thing I wanted to offer was two creatives, right? I mean, there's a lot of things in these going back and forth, but what AI provides, and I'd like to shift the perspective a little bit for creatives, is what AI provides is a great sounding board, writing partner, creative partner in whatever medium that you're doing, right? the same kind of methods or processes that you use as part of your creative process can, for the most part, translate to incorporating or using with AI. Beth made a great one, asking questions, because not only does that develop the back and forth between you and the AI in coming up with, ideating on something or developing your idea, is it forces you to think about your idea. Like, what if you're coming up with a scenario for a novel or, characters or whatnot, going back and forth and asking all those questions you would normally ask yourself, and having that creative voice in you going, oh, but what would they do in this situation? AI can help you with that. AI can be that extra voice for you. So
bouncing ideas off them, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. And so even things like creative writers and writing prompts. Writing prompts is hugely popular. I come across those all the time, all over the internet, on social media and everything like that. AI can help you create writing prompts, right? And it's all about lighting the fire, providing more fuel for the coals there, so that it becomes a raging fire of creativity. And so that's the perspective, I think, and that goes to kind of what Aaron, you were saying, is those who use AI will be more empowered by it. So I would like creatives to take that kind of perspective. Give it a shot. Use, if you run into a creative block of some sort, pop into chat. You can even have a regular conversation with chat, saying, hey, I'm having writer's block. I've got this situation and I don't know how to get out of it, and I can't do this, or this. What do you think? And they might just provide you that nugget of of creativity that you need to, like, oh, okay, now I solved it and I'm off to the races.
I love your idea of the fire. That made me just think of, Jimmy, like, okay, so AI solves the blank page problem. It's analogous to a human standing in a pitch black room with no sound. And what AI does is turn on the lights and put headphones on with classical music. It ignites the inspiration and our ability to be more creative as humans. And it gets us there faster. That's just, I love when the way you said that with the fire. I was like, that's exactly it. It's lighting the fire. It's bringing the senses to full capacity and saying, okay, here's all the stuff around you. So I really, really love that. Andy, were you about to say something? I didn't want to cut you off.
Not yet. I'm actually doing an experiment here. What I'm going to say is, I have found that ChatGPT particularly, and Claude as well, are excellent at what I'll call taxonomy summarization, meaning you can ask it to look at its entire volume of knowledge and come up with an organized structure around any such knowledge domain that you might be interested in. So what I'm going to do next is while we're on this show, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to become an historian and analyst of literature and storylines through the ages, in books and theater and movies and video games, collect them all, and then output a list of 25 unique storylines that are present in all of that content. Now, that would be a really interesting seed, I would think, to, looking through that list and saying, oh, yeah, that's an interesting angle or sort of archetypal storyline. So give me a few more minutes and I'll see what ChatGPT does.
Did you say you're doing it with ChatGPT?
Yes, this is ChatGPT 4.
All right, so I'm going to make a prediction. This is live stuff, ladies and gentlemen.
And his computer's going to blow up.
No, my prediction is that ChatGPT is going to give you 5 and then say, you see where I'm going with this, right?
You speak it from here. You got this.
Cynical but true.
Hey, so while Andy's doing that experiment, I actually did run another experiment today based off of our conversation about Claude yesterday. So I want to pull that up on screen, and we won't take too much time on this, but it'd be fun for anybody listening to the show to kind of play along. Here's the game. I'm going to read out to you answers from the Anthropic text prompt that in this particular scenario, I use it. This is from what Aaron shared in our team's account. Okay. And the idea here is that I'm going to read it to you really quick. The gist of it, you're a YouTube content strategist tasked with coming up with compelling video ideas related to artificial intelligence, AI content. AI content has been exploding in popularity in YouTube lately. With many creators seeing massive view counts and subscriber growth from videos on this topic. Your job is to generate 10 specific engaging video ideas related to the following AI topics. Just AI in general is what we have here. And then there's some more there where it's got the goals. This is all from Anthropic. Okay. So I ran this in Claude, but I ran it in Claude. What is it? Sonnet, the middle one, the free one, right? Not the Opus, not the top one, the free one. Okay. I ran it in GPT-4 in ChatGPT, and I also ran it in Gemini Advanced, right?
Yes.
The paid version of Gemini. I also ran it in Gemini 1.5 Pro. We will talk about that at the end about what happened there. It wasn't good. But here were some of the ones. I'm just going to read a couple of these because it would take too long to do like 30 of them. But let's start with let's start with ChatGPT, because more than likely we think these would be the worst. So these are 10 YouTube video ideas based on AI. Okay. We got things like living with AI a week in the future. That was one of them. By the way, every one of these has definitions of like what descriptors of what it is. Can AI dream? Exploring machine consciousness. AI versus human brain, the ultimate showdown. The AI capsule, predictions for 2050. That'd be fun. Decoding AI ethics, right or wrong. AI in pop culture, myth versus reality. AI and companion, more than just a machine. Okay, those are the types of ones you're getting from ChatGPT. Now let's go over to
Those aren't
Claude.
bad.
Yeah,
All
not
right.
bad. Not bad. Claude, we would expect, all of us, I think, can agree, we would expect these to be better. So let's see if we think these are better. The dark side of AI, separating fact from fiction. AI versus human, the ultimate game show showdown. That's similar. That's funny. AI explainers, how does it really work? AI art revolution, humans need not apply. That's pretty good. Everyday AI, how it's already changing your life. And I'll give you one more. AI assistant showdown, Siri versus Alexa versus, and they put in brackets latest, right? So you can enter that in. I mean, good. They're good. Now let me read you the Mr. Beast level of Gemini Pro. At least this is my opinion of this. I don't want to sway the audience here, but listen to the difference of Gemini Pros. I fooled my friends into thinking I was an AI. AI art battle, human versus machine. The weirdest things AI generates. Could an AI ever become your best friend? Jobs that AI will never be able to replace. That's a good show topic. I taught my grandma how to use AI. I love that one. I tried living with only AI generated products for 24 hours. Does AI really understand us? Testing its limits. AI or human, the ultimate imitation game. AI ethics debate. Could machines have rights? Now, you tell me which one of these companies owns YouTube.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like those are all YouTube titles. Yeah, definitely.
Which one of these companies owns all the data on YouTube?
Yep.
Now,
100%.
here's the thing. If I'm a content creator on YouTube, I am definitely going with the list that's on Gemini 1.5 or Gemini Advanced, not 1.5, not 1.5, Gemini Advanced, the paid version. They are, without a doubt in my mind, better. Now, if we're talking about clickable YouTube videos that I think is going to get somebody with a good thumbnail, and I'd be curious to see what it would give me for thumbnails. I don't know what you guys think. Was that the better of the three lists? I think it is.
I definitely thought they had a lot more of that sort of clickbaity, really grabs your attention kind of thing. And I agree with a good thumbnail. They'd be really good on YouTube.
I think I would click on five out of the 10 of those.
Some of those are future shows, man. Come back.
Yeah.
Our examination of creative stubs, from clickbait to longer form literature. This is ChatGPT-4 saying that, hey, that good idea. This classification helps in understanding the underlying structures and themes that drive storytelling throughout human history. Now, it complains that a comprehensive taxonomy, as I requested, would have been extensive, but here's the basic high-level outline of it. And you can imagine drilling down into any one of these. So the hero's journey, they list out the key calls, key stages: call to adventure, the assistance, the departure, the trials, the approach. So you've actually got a framework for the hero's journey model of a story, and that might trigger your thinking. And they give media examples for each one: rags to riches, the quest, voyage and return, comedy, tragedy, of course, from drama, rebirth.
This is like reading a playwright and a copywriter's list.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really nice. And now it summarizes its output by saying this is not exhaustive and could be further detailed by exploring subgenres, cross-genre combinations, and variations specific to cultural context. Now, Brian's done a really interesting thing where he did a mashup of two different styles of things and did an extensive and recursive development of using prompts to create a whole mystical, creative thing. So Brian should be able to comment on this, but just doing this right now, you could then take, okay, I want to do a rebirth story. And you could ask it to do a list of the subgenres of rebirth stories with all the examples. And all of those things would cue your thinking and might even generate, because you're a human with creative connections going on in your massive neural network of your own, you'll end up with something really quite creative.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's super cool. And I'll say, I know Aaron wants to jump in here real quick. The only thing I'll say to that is, so that was the movie mashup that I did. And I just did one recently because I wanted to test out Microsoft's Copilot and use their custom GPT that you can now do as part of their Copilot Pro, I believe it is. Gotta always slow down on these because I'll say advanced or the wrong word, but I think it's Copilot Pro. It's the paid version of Copilot, and I wanted to see what their custom GPTs. You can go check out my most recent LinkedIn post about this. But what I'll say about this is the two movies. It's a movie mashup one. The two movies I gave it this time, because I typically would do Shrek and Indiana Jones, but I said I don't want to do that again. I'll do something different. Literally, the two movies, it should tell you where my brain is with movies, was Lego Batman and The Goonies. I don't know why. Those were the two that came into my head. And I will tell you, I shared it with you guys. I will tell you, I was so impressed with the movie mashups scene scenario that Copilot came up with. The thumbnail, go look at my LinkedIn post, and the thumbnail is insane. And that was one of four. It gave me 4 right off the bat. It was like, what do you think? I was like, one is better than the next. The Joker and Carnival Island and all this. Anyway, I read it to my wife, and my wife goes, hands down, I go watch that movie right now. Like, I'm in. They should go create this. This is a great idea. Use Lego and mash up like classic movie stories that we know and recreate them in Lego format. She's like, I am so in on something like this. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, it sounds like a good movie, So anyway, yeah, it's a fun one. I've made
Yet
that
another
one
$1 million idea.
Yes, Netflix. We are
Thanks
just
to Copilot.
we're coming
Okay,
out
sorry,
with
Aaron. You wanted
Aaron wants to come in, but I need to give Jumi credit. Jumi's like in the chat going, that was more than 5, Beth. You lost. Andy won.
Oh, yeah. It is 10. Yeah.
Hey, it's still not more enough. So so I just wanted to quickly, just as you guys were talking, it just reminded me of something else. So, we're primarily using ChatGPT, and we're starting to dabble with Claude and that. One of the things I've found is we still have this issue of some of the content that we're given that's not necessarily accurate or current. So we have hallucination problems. And a lot of my clients are in business and they want videos about current topics. The classic example is a real estate agent where they're saying, hey, I need you to do me a video on what happened in the real estate market in my suburb last month. So I need sales stats and numbers and blah, blah, blah. Now, I can go off and do that all manually. It's a bit painful. It occurred to me one day, well, where would I have gone in the past for this? Good old Google. Okay, I'll go to Google and say, write me a script using the data from month X, and it was coming back with really good scripts. And I've also started to mix in Perplexity as well because it seems to be good at finding current data. Yeah. So they're now becoming a bit of a, I guess, for want of a better way to put it, a bit of a mashup process for me when I want to create mostly video content, but content around that needs current information, because I figure Google's a search engine. You probably are getting more accurate information in some respects. So just a little something to think about outside of the creative assist that you get from these tools.
And you've heard us say this before, but one of the differences between Perplexity and what we're talking about with these other tools is that Perplexity lets you choose your own model, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't bring your own from home, but there are a series of models that you can choose from if you find that one's working better.
Yeah, if you want to test out like Mixtral 7B or something like that, which we've mentioned before, and 4, they're in there, which is really cool. I thought maybe as we wrap things up today, we got maybe just a few minutes here. I thought it might be fun or interesting for our audience for us to just share creative ideas. And I think we've all kind of shared a few. Beth, yours about the interview me. You've mentioned that so many times, and I've yet to use that. And I swear I'm going to like go turn and do that, because I always think that's like the most brilliant idea. And you talked about it so many times, I just forget to go do it. I'll throw in 1 or 2 into the mix. The interview is obviously awesome. I'll tell you another thing you can do that's been very, very beneficial to my clients and also internally and myself as well, is asking AI to put on the other hat. So what that can mean is I want to write with the intent of reaching such and such persona or audience or industry or sub-industry, let's say, for business use cases. And then you tell the AI, if you were that person, what are some of the things you would hope that I would say that would help you ease some of your pain points in XYZ? So what I'm doing is I'm not saying help me write, but what I'm saying is, hey, go be this other person for me. Basically, I'm going to create this avatar, this virtual avatar for me in AI. And based on what they're saying, it's going to help me figure out what my path forward is, because I might be thinking, oh, they want to know and need to know about this, this, and this. This is going to solve their pain points. But you will be surprised to see how many times AI comes back and says, no. I think these are the 3 things they would actually care most about if they were a senior VP in fintech, yada, 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 right? This is where their brain is going to be. It is surprisingly good. AI is very good at putting on hats of other people. And then the other thing, this is not my idea, this is my CEO's idea, but I love it. Sort of like the interview thing, create me a trivia game. Create me a trivia game based on such and such a topic. And you will be surprised at how cool that is for bringing up new ideas. And it's super simple to deploy. Jake Dunlap's my CEO. That's his idea. He's been using for a while, and we've deployed it with clients, and they love it. And it's a great way to do like retraining and onboarding as well, which isn't really necessarily the blank page issue, but you can use it for blank page as well. Nice. So those are 2 from me. Anybody else have some more they want to share real quick with the audience?
I want to say that, we've heard a lot about the problem that hallucination is in generative AI, but it's not a bug. It's a feature if you're trying to be creative. You want the Gen AI to hallucinate for you and come up with something really novel in order to satisfy whatever objective you give it. What you're really doing is you're exploring this mass of collected classifications and clusters. There's this concept called k-means clustering in this. And you can ask a generative AI to do something like, okay, this is where, give me a list of the things that are around this topic or this subject. And now I want you to give me things that are somewhat related, but only distantly. Give me the things that are sort of tangential to this subject and list those out as, surrounding this subject. And now you're starting to basically review this vast knowledge store, but doing it in a creative exploration.
I love it.
Yeah. I would say maybe also, if we're talking about like specific techniques or whatnot, we could, you could do collaborative storytelling. You start the story and then sort of like advanced ad libs, and that usually gets the creative process going. Or Andy, you just gave me an idea, is temperature control. And that can easily be done if you use OpenAI's Playground.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And just choose ChatGPT or, GPT-4 or whatnot, and you can adjust the temperature and go, way out there to really generate really creative or really mind expanding interpretation.
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that, because that's literally a control slider on creativity. Like, go
Yep.
hallucinate some more, please. You just slide the temperature up, and you're going to get some interesting output.
Right.
By the way, Google's AI Studio also has a playground, so or sandbox, if you will. So worth mentioning that OpenAI is not the only one, and I don't know about Anthropic. They might, but I'm just not aware of it. But that is a secret weapon. The ChatGPT, and by the way, if you have just as for our audience, if you have a ChatGPT or OpenAI account, you have access to the playground. You may just not know it, but just do a Google search for like ChatGPT or OpenAI playground, and you'll see. You might just have to log in one more time, but it's your exact same login.
Actually, there's an easier way. There's an easier way to get to that, which is if you go to copilot.microsoft.com. That's using OpenAI's ChatGPT-4 underneath the hood, and it has a series of buttons at the bottom of that main page, and it says choose a conversation style, more creative, more balanced, or more precise. And that's the temperature control. It's giving you just 3 points along that temperature control. But go ahead and do that. And what temperature control does is it says, okay, when you're inputting this prompt, I want you to not be really precise about it. I want you to inject some randomness into what I'm giving you. And what that means is it's going to put some additional stuff in there that may not be exactly or precisely what you added as the language that you included in your prompt. So it's literally adding some juice to that for creative purposes.
Yeah, good call out on that. I forgot that was there. Go ahead, Beth.
Yeah.
No, nothing. Okay.
So my one is one of the things I've done with, I briefly mentioned it before, but I've used predominantly ChatGPT to do some really creative stuff. So I'm going to give you an example. It's a little bit left of field, but is something you could potentially run with. So all the guys and girls here know that I'm interested in military aviation, and in particular the if you remember the Top Gun movie, the F-14 Tomcat plane that Maverick flew. So I'm in a Facebook group which is full of a whole pile of ex-retired US Navy guys and girls that used to fly the plane. So they're like the serious people about it. And one day I went, just for a little fun, write me I can't remember if it was a poem or something like that about the story of a pilot and his relationship with his Tomcat. It was pretty random. It pumped out this amazingly good piece of creative poetry or whatever, and I posted it into the group, and I didn't tell people how I'd done it. And I got so many damn likes and loves, and like people were just wowed by it. And I'm not bragging. I didn't come up with it. I never could have come up with it. So, sometimes if you, particularly in content, it's a great idea. Create us out of left field creative story around your brand or your product that just kind of gets people thinking a little bit differently, and it might be a good way to stand out from the crowd. And it's so easy to do that with ChatGPT and Claude. They're great.
Yeah. And I would say, I had somebody, this is not my quote, but somebody on LinkedIn that I'm friends with said, creating content now is a commodity because AI has made it so easy, right? So how do you stand out? Do what we're talking about today. Jump over the blank page, use these types of things we're talking about. Keep using AI. The solution for the commodity problem is using AI plus your brain and your creativity to come up with new innovative stories and ways. And I promise you, the people that are doing this on LinkedIn and other social medias or just writing blogs or whatever are producing better, more engaging content that catches eyeballs. So it's a great way to do it. I want to bring up Jen. We love Jen. I want to go on an AI game show. That was from back when we were talking about I was saying we should do a little game show. We keep saying we're going to do that as a show topic, like a concept one time, and we'll have to come up with that and do a fun AI game show. And then she was talking about the Lego mashups and stop motion YouTube waiting to happen. Yeah, Jen, I agree with you. I'm sure there's tons of people who make stop motion Lego and do fan fiction and all that kind of stuff. If I had the time and the means, and I mean, I can do probably a pretty good Lego Batman voice.
Wait for a couple of months and Sora might be able to do it for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to wait it out till AI can create this movie for me, but expect the Lego Batman / Goonies mashup coming to a YouTube channel someday soon. So that's what we got today, guys. Tomorrow we're going to be back on a totally different topic. We're going to be talking about Descript. Descript has been around for a really long time. They're doing a ton with AI, and we want to give you our honest review. So we do that every other Friday, and so Descript is up next. That'll be tomorrow. Until then, guys, see ya.
Bye.
Music.